Okay, so before we go on to our 7.6 notes, alright, we need to take a look at the X method again. Alright, because it's not going to be as clear cut on how to use it this time. So this is the X method part 2, if you will, Electric Boogaloo. So we're going to use the X method, but alright, there's going to be a new way that we use it. So if you remember, I'm going to set up my X, but I'm also going to write the general equation for a polynomial, so ax squared plus bx plus c, okay, where in the top now, instead of just c, it's going to be a times c, and in the bottom, we still have b. All right, and then on the side, we still have our p and our q, okay, and then what we do after that, we will discuss in the problem. Okay, so we're going to start off with this example, 3h squared plus 11h plus 6. So I'm going to set up, alright, so up in the top, I put 3 times 6, so 18 goes up top. And then in the bottom, I put 11, okay. So I want to think of two numbers that multiply to 18 but add to 11. So 1 and 18 don't add to 11. 2 and 9, oh, what do you know? Those add to 11. So 2 and 9 both multiply to 11. Or both multiply to 18 and add to 11, I should say. Okay, but if you notice, if I do x minus 2, x minus 9, or I should say h minus 2, h minus 9, I don't have a 3 in front. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at that. So over here, for our p and our q, after we find that, okay, we divide by the a, the coefficient of our x squared. So over here, I divide by 3, and then over here I also divide by 3. I'm going to see if they reduce at all. So 2 over 3 does not reduce, so I'm going to leave that alone for the time being. 9 over 3, however, does reduce to 3. Okay, so that means that this part factors into an h plus 3. Okay, over here I still have 2 over 3. So what does this mean? So the 2 means this is what we add or subtract from our x, or in this case, an h, okay? And then the denominator, this is the coefficient of the x term in the binomial. Okay, so what is that going to look like? So 3 is the coefficient of our x, so that means that's 3x, and then 2, because it's positive, it's what we add or subtract from the 3x, it's going to be plus 2. But of course, again, I made a mistake. It's supposed to be an h. So that means we have h plus 3, all right, from up here, and now we have 3h plus 2. So that is what it looks like all factored out. And just to, all right, bring home the point, I'm going to show you that it does in fact equal our original trinomial. I'm just going to multiply everything out. So h times 3h is 3h squared. All right. H times 2 is plus 2h. 3 times 3h is 9h. And then 3 times 2 is 6. So again, just combining middle terms. So I have 3h squared plus 11h plus 6, which matches up with our original trinomial. So that means that we factored it correctly using our x method. Alright, the next example, to finish this video up, we're going to do 3n squared plus 5n minus 2. Okay, so a little bit of a curveball with the minus 2 at the end, but we can still tackle this. So if I set up my x, I'm going to do 3 times negative 2, which gives me negative 6. And then down below, I put the 5. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to negative 6, but add to 5. So 3 and 2 both multiply to 6 and add to 5. But, all right, if one is positive and one is negative, which it has to be in this case, they won't equal 5. 6 and 1 do, in fact, multiply to 6 and are 5 apart. Okay, and then because the 5 is positive, that means my 6 has to also be positive. So I have 6 and I have negative 1. So then I'm going to take those and I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides and then reduce them. So on the left, 6 over 3 reduces to 2. So that means over here I have n plus 2 as my binomial. Over here, all right, if we follow the rules, all right, the denominator is going to be the coefficient of my variable. So in that case, it's n. So 3n, and then the numerator is what we add or subtract from the term that I just found. So I'm going to be minus 1. All right, so then I smush those two binomials together, so I get n plus 2 times 3n minus 1. And that is it. Okay, and then again, for clarity's sake, I'm just going to multiply everything out. So n times 3n is 3n squared. N times negative 1 is negative n. 2 times 3n is plus 6n. And then 2 times negative 1 is minus 2. So that turns into 3n squared plus 5n minus 2, which is our original trinomial, which means we are all good. All right, so now you can go ahead and go on to the notes for 7.6.